Autopilot. Autopilot system is considered as one of the most advanced, technically and sophisticated navigational equipment tools on ships. Autopilot is synchronized with the gyro compass to steer manual input courses, with reference to the gyro heading. Displays heading and course over ground, 4-digit display of the actual course from the gyro or magnetic compass, or shows the course over ground from the GPS. Off course display, LED strip showing the difference between the actual course and the set course. Set course, 4-digit display which shows set course. There are two indicators, off course alarm and on limit. Radius, 3-digit display which shows the turn radius if radius turn control mode is selected. Speed and rate of turn, 3-digit display which shows speed value if the speed parameter is selected. Setting, 4-digit display showing the radius or rate of turn, or shows the entered or default parameter values. The autopilot control panel contains two keys. Command keys and functional keys are shown in these two types. Command keys allow us to switch between autopilot modes, while functional keys enable us to make desired settings for autopilot. Control keys is the first key selected of command keys. Autopilot operating mode can be selected with this key. Track control combines an ACDIS with the autopilot. The navigator can program a voyage plan into the ACDIS that contains one or two more tracks. In heading control mode, the ship course is monitored by the magnetic or gyro compass. The ship's drift is not taken into account. Heading is the default control mode. In course control mode, course over ground is steered along. Data is supplied by the GPS. The ship's drift is taken into account. Track mode is the key for selecting the mode of steering the ship on the route. Route is control of the motion along the route implemented in the autopilot. Tracking is the control of motion along the route from an external track control device. Turn mode is a key for presetting of the course change maneuver. Radius value or rate of turn limit value can be adjusted. Program mode, key for switching the autopilot to the mode of programmable input of the course and radius. Dodge is similar to program mode. It's a key for switching the autopilot to the mode of instant input of the course and radius. Second key category is functional keys. Yawing, key for setting the rudder deflection frequency in the ship yawing, used for selecting standard settings. Economy yawing is equal to 1. Medium yawing is equal to 5, and loaded yawing or precise loading is equal to 9. Speed. Speed key for setting is the ship speed used for selecting the parameter input mode. Heading. Key for selecting the heading tracing sensor, gyro or magnetic compass. Rudder. Key for setting the coefficient of correspondence between the rudder angle and deviation off course value, used for selecting standard settings. Controller. Key for setting the ship's counteraction coefficient in turning into a set course. Rudder limit. Key for setting the rudder angle limits, used for selecting the parameter input mode, manual or automatic. Off course limit. Key for setting the limit of the current course deviation from the set course. Also, we have two general function keys for LM acknowledge and enter key for confirming that data input. An echo sounder is a type of sonar device used to determine the depth of water by transmitting sound pulses into water. It works on the principle of transmitting sound waves from the ship's bottom and then measuring the time taken for the echo to be turned from sea. If the velocity of sound in water is known, the time will be proportional to distance traveled. To switch the echo sounder system on, press the power button. The display area is situated in the left hand side and controls with indicators at the right hand side of the echo sounder control panel. The display area is a chart of depths altering with time. The echo sounder parameters can be modified using the following controls. Parameter, the button for selecting the parameter which has to be altered. Value, the button for selecting the parameter which has to be altered. Set, the button for the confirmation and input of the selected parameter's value. There are some indicators and control buttons in the top right hand side. They are current depth in chosen measuring units, echo sounder operating mode, actual or replay, current latitude and longitude indicators, current date and time, replay, which allows viewing the sounds of any past moment of time, mark, which draws a vertical line for the current time on the mark on graph, alarms indicators, which inform about dangerous depths and shallows, switch from one sensor to another. The list of echo sounder parameters is situated at the bottom of display area. Range, draft, units, offset, gain, depth alarm, mode, shallow alarm, and sound velocity. Gyro panel. The gyro control panel consists of a window with course recorder on chart. On its right, it's a window for the input of the vessel's speed and latitude. There is also a window with value of the gyro velocity correction. After the beginning of the exercise, it's necessary to set the course recorder chart to the start of time by using the scroll button in the bottom right of the corner of the panel. The time scale on the course recorder chart is on the right and has 5-minute graduation. The setting with accuracy up to a minute is made using an interpolation by eye. The left-hand part of the course is recorder chart. A broken line will be drawn which allows determining this quarter in which the course should be read off in the central part of the course recorder chart. In the right-hand part, the position of the rudder blade is drawn. Press the mark button to draw a horizontal line for the current time on mark of draft. The automatic calculations of the gyro velocity or correction require the vessel speed and vessel's position latitude. To this end, the speed, latitude windows and double arrow buttons are used. If a log and GPS receiver are used, the required values will be entered automatically as demonstrated by the lighted green auto buttons. To turn off the auto correction, press the lighted green auto button. To note that the autocorrection can be turned off by the instructor. The calculation results are displayed in the correction window. To select required gyro sensor, use gyro sensor switch. 1. Data received from the primary gyro sensor. 0. No active sensor chosen. Data shown as per last selected gyro sensor. 2. Data received from the secondary gyro sensor. The gyro failure set by the instructor is indicated by the lighted red lamp on failure button. This alarm can be disabled by pressing failure button. Log control panel. The log control panel shows the ship's longitudinal and transverse velocities on the bow and on the stern relative to the bottom, or only the ship's longitudinal speed through the water. When an exercise is being completed, the total distance is counted from 0. To distance the waypoint value whereby an alert is generated can be entered by pressing button marked with double arrows. The alert is generated for notifying the trainer about the passing distance she or he has set before. To acknowledging an alert, press the acknowledge button. The ship security alert system is a safety measure for strengthening the ship security and subduing acts of piracy and terrorism against shipping. Widely acknowledged as a part of the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code, the Ship Security Alert System complements the International Maritime Organization's attempts to increase maritime vessel security. In the control panel, the imitator of the Ship Security Alert System is intended for providing ship security alert and checking the system operating capability. To turn on the SSA's power supply, set 3 position switch on the control junction box in the on or test position. The system responds by switching the operating status, the process taking 2 minutes, during which the light indicator of the imitator on Inmarsat D+ terminal is reflecting various internal checks and adjustments of the communication channel. Standby mode. In the standby mode, the 3 position switch on the control box is required to be on position. At this stage, the security alert buttons are not activated. Ship security alerting mode. 2 security alert buttons are provided for activating this mode. The 3 position switch on the control box is required to be in on position. To rule out inadvertent pressing on the security alert buttons, 3 seconds delay in sending activation signals provided. During this time of internal, the sending of the signal can be cancelled. System operation check mode. Equipment operations checked by setting 3 position switch on the control box in the test position, pressing either of the security alert buttons. The emergency electrical plant control panel is used for emergency electrical plant control. The EPC panel contains power indicators of emergency electrical plant operation modes, normal mode and emergency mode. Running indicators of diesel generators running, diesel generation 1 running, diesel generation 2, and emergency diesel generation. With the buttons, there is emergency start and emergency stop with 2 diesel generators, and bottom of this there is alarms of indicators of diesel generation 1 or 2 faults. 1 or 2 diesel generations are start in normal operation mode. The power normal indicators highlighted. The system switches to the emergency operation mode if both generators are faulty or if fault was introduced for one of the DG and the other has not been started in time. In these cases, the emergency diesel generator is automatically started, running EG and power emergency indicators are highlighted. To start the DG1, press the protection cover on the emergency start button to open it. Press the emergency start button. The button will be highlighted while pressed. To stop a DG1, press the protection cover on the emergency stop button to open it. In this case, the generation is fault, the respective alarm indicators start blinking. Within 20 seconds, another diesel generator should be started. After the diesel generator is started, alarm indicator put out. The faulty diesel generator can be stopped. If another diesel generator is not started in time, the emergency diesel generator is started. The system switches to the emergency operation mode.